Hi students, welcome back. In the previous video, I explained what is an algorithm. Okay, so there I said algorithm is nothing but it is a step-by-step method for solving a particular problem or it doing a task. You call it as an algorithm. Okay, so I said the algorithm can be expressed in many kinds of notations. Those are the natural languages, pseudocode, flowchart, and programming language. Now let us see what is the pseudocode. Actually, pseudocode is nothing but it is a compact and informal. So this you have to be noted, compact and informal high level description of a program. So it's just describing the program. Before entering your program, if you write your program in the form of a pseudocode, then you will be understand what are the steps that you have to be taken while writing the program. Okay, a pseudocode is a compact and informal high level description of a program. That means here the name pseudo means imitation or a false state. It's just imitation or a false, that you call it as a pseudo. Whereas code means, okay, it refers to the instruction written in programming language. Okay, that you call it as a code. So the word pseudo means it's just an imitation or a false instructions written in a programming language. So those pseudo code will be useful only for the description of a program. So this is an informal high level language, informal high level description of a program, that you call it as a pseudo code. So actually this pseudo code used for, where we will use, this is used for only planning of program. So I already said, so to plan any program, okay, if you want to write any program, it's better you write first in a pseudo code. Okay, it is used for planning of program. Next, it is also called as, this pseudo code is also called as program design language, PDL. You call it as a PDL. So the pseudocode is also called as program design language. Okay, so now let us see some of the logical structures of pseudocode. So is it clear up to now? A pseudocode is nothing but it is a false imitation or false statement. It's instructions that are written in a programming language. So you call it is a compact and informal high level description program. So why we are using pseudocode? For planning of programs. Okay, now coming to the logical structures of pseudocode. So what are the logical structures of pseudocode? So let us see. Okay, so there are three logical structures in pseudocode. One is sequence logic, another is selection logic, and next is iteration logic. Okay, so these are the three different logical structures of pseudocode: sequence logic, selection logic, iteration logic. So let us see one by one. So first, what is a sequence logic? So the first one is sequence logic. Okay, So the name indicating itself, it's sequence. Okay, it is used to perform instructions in a sequence. The instructions are performed in sequence. So let us see the example. How the sequence logic will represent means the pseudocode is represented in the form of sequence logic. So the instructions are represented in the form of sequence. So let us take flowchart and the pseudocode to see the variations between the algorithms. I said algorithm can be expressed in any one of the notations like pseudocode, natural language, or flowcharts, like that. Okay, so let us take another algorithm to know the difference between how this flowchart will be represented and how the pseudocode is represented. So let us take the algorithm flowchart. So if you represent any of the example, flowchart means statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, up to statement n. So here I am writing the flowchart of sequence logics. Here the sequence logic saying that the instructions are performed in sequence. So this is the flowchart. Now coming to the pseudocode. So how the pseudocode will be represented in the form of sequence logic. So the statement should be in the form of sequence. So statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, up to statement n. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation, this is the statement representation. So the sequence, this is the way you have to represent the sequence logic. So now let us see the second one, selection logic. So the second one is selection logic. So here the name saying selection means you are taking the decisions. Okay, it is also called as a decision logic. Selection logic is also called as decision. You are taking the decision logic. What it does, it decides the proper path from one or more alternative paths in the program. Suppose if you are having so many paths, it decides one of the proper path and may send it to the output, okay, to do the operations, to perform the program. Okay, selection is nothing but the decision, taking the decision. So it decides the proper path. You have to mention the proper path from one or more alternate path in program logic. So if you are having some program logic, in that program logic, this selection logic will decide which path will be the best one. So the examples for this selection logics are if, then, else, if then else block, if then block. Okay, so let us see the examples for this. So first, if then else flowchart. So what is it? It's a selection. So first you have to give the condition. So if the condition is true, okay, it goes to the sequence 1 statement. Okay, if the condition is false, it goes to another sequence of statements, sequence 2. And then out. So this is the if, then, else. If condition is true, okay, proceed. Then else you have to check this sequence. Either select sequence 1 or select sequence 2. Okay, this is a flowchart. Now how we will represent in the form of pseudocode. So the main thing in the pseudocode means the keywords should be represented in capital letters. That you have to be noted. Okay, that is important. So the keywords if, condition, whatever it may be, the condition, then these are the keywords that should be represented in capital letters. If condition, then sequence 1, else sequence 2, and if. So this is the how you represent the pseudocode. For this flowchart, this is the pseudocode. These are the different algorithms. So this is a selection logic, if then else. So let us take if then. Coming to flowchart. So in if then, the flowchart will be first just here like condition. So in the condition, it checks the, if condition is true, it takes the sequence. Okay. If condition is false, it quits the program. Okay. It's not selecting for another. It is not if then else. It is only if then. So if the condition is true, it takes the sequence and gets and come to the output. Okay. If the condition is not true, it proceeds with the next step. Okay. So this is the if then flowchart. So let us see the pseudocode for this if then. So the main thing here you have to be noted that keyword should be in capital letters. If condition, then you have to go with the sequence, and if. So this is a pseudocode for the selection logic. Thank you.